Welcome to the Acer Predator pre-show.
They say freedom isn't free, but today I'm bringing it all to you for free 99. That's right, the America's Minors coming at you hot, heavy, and a little underhanded is where I'm putting my hands. Just a kidding with you. You might recognize us from such recent fame as the European Minors. My name is Trace Saranthus. I'm joined by such a crew, such a staff, such just a couple of people named Natu and
individuals.
Yes, they're also individuals, not couples.
Are we doing that whole chant yet?
I don't think we need to yet.
Okay.
And actually, if we kind of look at the breakdown of this whole America's Minor, it's not really...
There's 19 Brazilians.
Yeah.
10 people from the USA, 5 South Africans. Yes, you heard me right. 3 from Canada, 1 from Argentina, 1 from Bulgaria, and even 1 from Denmark.
I thought some people were referencing this as the NA minor, but...
America's Minor.
Exactly. That's what it is, really. But, I mean, that's what people are referring it to.
Geographically speaking, yes, we are pretty close to exactly that of the America's Minor. We are going to be sending some teams on into the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice Major, but that will come at the end of this long road known as the second week of minors here in this lovely city of Poland. Of course, we do have quite a few contenders on our hands now. We have changed some cards. We've already sent some teams on into the minors and through to the majors, and some of them it was really easy for, dare I say, and now is where the true test begins for America's Best.
Well, America's the best now, right? Because Liquid just beat Astralis, so whoever comes out of here is probably coming second at the major behind Liquid.
So you're saying that America's about to win the second major it's won?
Yeah, and we can talk about Cloud9 and all their glory, but they've already made it through to the next stage of this bad boy, so we don't need to get too stuck into them, but we can talk about NRG being the favorite in this tournament, and they don't fall into the same position of what Mouse Sports did in the European one. They are so clear favorites in this one, it's not even funny.
I agree. I mean, they've already had their wows when it comes to the minor. Everyone remembers what happened last summer. It wasn't great. I don't think they want to have a repeat of that happening, but I think the likelihood of it is not very high. I think they're going to come into this one very prepared. They're going to be very hungry into getting a major.
To not qualify for the second major in a row, that would be very devastating, I think would be the lack of words needed to say. But we do have a little bit of a score update as we switch over to the next bracket. NRG is actually already live against Imperial E-Sports with a capital S. Don't know how that all worked out, but nonetheless, it's 5-1 right now on Nuke. That's the best of one. Now, let's look at the B bracket. That's right, Team Envious. Can you believe it?
Yeah, they've returned to Counter-Strike, and they have Carrigan, who's been dropped from FaZe Clan as the in-game leader of this team with the likes of Nifty. You've got Drone, Cutler. Yes, that's a blast from the past right there. And just some older names in this team to bring together a new face for Envy. I don't know if this is the necessary way that they wanted to be reintroduced into Counter-Strike, but let's see what they can do, because right here, right now, there's a lot of unknown quantities.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, E-United, that's an interesting one. I think they did pretty well in the previous Pro League season. They have FNS on the lineup, so... I think this one, in terms of the whole minor, I think it's pretty wide open. If you forget about NRG, I think that's a clear favorite. But anyone else going through, well, the second place and the possible third place, play-in, last chance, whatever you want to call it, I think it's still wide open.
And the unfortunate reality is, if our minors have taught us anything, it's that the favorites don't always necessarily go straight through to the very end. But that does it for the end of this pre-show. The world record shortest on, I guess, record, right? Anyway,
Guinness World Record.
Yes, the Guinness World Records or the Katowice World Records. Don't even know if that exists, but I'll take a Google search after we're done here, which we are. We're going to go do a quick break. When we come back, we're jumping into our first matchup of the day, so make sure you're here with us, because it's going to get weird.
The champions of ESL 1 Cologne.
Do you remember?
Welcome to the Cathedral of Counter-Strike.
Think you've seen it all?
Are you ready to be a part of Counter-Strike history?
ESL 1 returns to Cologne in 2019.
Think he can't clutch through a smoke while recording in full resolution and streaming the play to the world? Watch this.
Counter-terrorists win.
Think he can't get famous in a flash? Like become your own meme famous? Watch this. Think he's been there, done that? With Intel Core i7, he's just getting started. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7.
forth and conquer.
I've been there since the beginning. Every map, every frag, every moment. I run, but I never hide. With knowledge comes power, and power is to be wielded wisely. Which is why, as the expert, I bet with Betway. If you know CSGO, then you'll know the best way to bet on esports is with Betway, for the love of the game.
Vodafone presents the pre-match.
Well, you wanted a pre-match, and I've got just that for you. In fact, we could play even faster than humanly possible there with Vodafone, and as we go forward into this pre-match, it's going to be a relatively different bout. This time it's going to be Bravado versus INTZ, or INTZ, not to be confused with the Finnish esports organization INTZ from Finland. My name is Trey, son of Saranthus. Welcome back to the desk here. Of course, I've got an Australian and a Finn represented, both sides here equally. And guys, if we take a look into the Americas Minor, it all starts right about here, right about now for us at least.
Yeah, let's kick it off. I know on that B stream right now, there's already a game going on, which is NRG taking on one of the many Brazilian names that we have here. So you can check that one at the same time. But ours is a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, it does have some weird sort of implications going on later into the brackets, right? So if we got Bravado in one hand, we've got INTZ in the other. Do we see a big mismatch here? Do we see two teams that are basically kind of lingering around the same area?
Definitely around the same area, right? Like, yeah. The fact of the matter is Bravado are a team who have had to move continent, very similar to what I had to do back in the day just to be able to compete. Coming from South Africa, there's not a lot of competition or chances to compete for these guys. And you can say the same thing for INTZ being in South America. Sure, there's a fantastic scene down there, but they've had to, you know, make a few players go up to North America to compete, come back down. You got the KNG storyline, right. That's all there to remember. We know how good he can be. He's made it to the grand final of a major before. Yeah, once upon a time, and the skill itself is not to be doubted. Anything that's happened in the past could stay in the past. Bygones be bygones. It's a new, fresh slate here, and what we're going to be talking about at least is the slate of Bravado Gaming. There has been some headlines about these guys, but moreover, let's focus on what's going on within the game for these dudes. In the game for these guys, I think that they are fighting for their life in terms of being professional Counter-Strike players, right? No, seriously, because this for them is a platform to become a well-recognized Counter-Strike team. If they make it into the major, they get that sticker money, they get that validation right there, they get put on the map, and they might even get picked up by a bigger organization. These guys are doing what I would have put Space Soldiers doing in the European minor when they had Zentaras, fighting for a new organization, fighting for their life, and that means that these guys have a lot to put on the line here today in the minor.
You have to respect just the kind of dedication. I mean, for you as well, Chad, moving away from home, far away, and just for that dream to become a professional Counter-Strike player. And I think that these guys have done a tremendous job making it their way into the finals of that DreamHack Open and DreamHack Winter. Yeah, was a big one, obviously. Out of basically no one really expecting anything, they were dubbed to be a team that will go out first in the group.
Yeah, and I mean, that was a statement event for them, albeit there were some other names that were pushed aside on their warpath to those finals. Now we got another team on a warpath. INTZ, yes, there's some familiar names here, KNG and Cello to really point out, even Destiny at that point.
Yeah, KNG, I guess, is the one that everyone's going to be looking at, remembering what happened with him.
He's a caster now, if you didn't see.
You saw the video?
I did not.
Oh,
that's confusing to me now.
Yeah, no, he did a little bit of casting cameo over there on the desk yesterday during the media day. But someone who has made a cameo to the MIBR roster is Phelps. He used to be in this team alongside Kenji. He's no longer there. So these guys have had a recent roster change, and that's something which is probably going to be strugglesome for them.
Yeah, I remember watching them playing in the NA Pro League, and the early indications was that, well, this is not going to go great. They were really disjointed. They were definitely not cohesive. Everything was just all over the place, basically. But somehow, as the season progressed, they ended up on the 6th place. They were just on the cusp of making it to the playoffs. So that's progression, 100%. I mean, that's a great thing. And we all know Brazil has a lot of talent inside. I'm sure there's more hidden in there somewhere that we haven't been able to see yet.
And the word that I like to use is Braziliancy, because somehow, some way, they always find that way, which is why we're going to be finding our way into the vetoes. I think it's about time we figure out what best-of-1 map we will be playing on today, gentlemen.
Yeah, so this one here, obviously, we're in the best-of-1 scenario, so we're vetoing down to 1. If there's no best-of-3s, that happens in the next round. But with the KH Mirage Band coming out today, and Nuke, INTZ obviously not going to take any risks on that one. I think Bravado are probably more of a structured team than that of INTZ. Like Natu said, they're going to be more sporadic, more based around individual plays, winning the mid-round or multi-frag situations, a bit like Valiance that we've seen earlier in the minor system. I think, you know... I
mean, yeah, I was going to say Inferno would make sense for INTZ to get rid of in a best-of-1, because that's been one of the maps where we saw that Bravado can definitely play against a better, like, let's say, Tier 2, Tier 3 teams in Europe really well.
So I think, what have we got now? It's between Train and Train.
It's a done deal. Yes, it is locked in. It's Train. It's going to be INTZ starting on the CT side. Now, we've actually talked about this before. What's more beneficial to start on the first match of the day? And I think we kind of unanimously said T side would be that more beneficial side. But in this case, is that really going to play in?
I mean, I don't think the context really matters in that sense. I feel like the T side is always, personally, I like starting T side just because you get to dictate the tempo, right?
Sure. If there was 2 maps that I would pick not to start on the T side, it would be Nuke and Overpass Train. It doesn't matter so much for me, but I think because both of these teams are quite equal in terms of experience, here I would have maybe preferred to have started on that CT side just because it's not like an underdog story going up against a cold Mouse Sports, for example. Going toe-to-toe, these guys seem pretty even, but I'm leaning towards the South African Dream.
Well, Chad, we got your dreams and all of your memes and all the good dad jokes in between. Natu, really quickly, who do you got?
Bravado as well.
Okay, well, they made it easy for me. They might be making it easy for you, and these next 2 will be painting that picture clear as day. It's going to be Scrawny and Launders. We brought them in, flown them all the way in from Canada just this morning to get this matchup underway. Group A starts now for the Americas Minors, and let's get it on.
Launders, I feel at home here. We've got ourselves a North American minor. Sun is lying to you all. We weren't flown in. We've been waiting over a week for this.
Yeah, we got here on canoes.
I mean, we had to get through that EU minor just to finally get to the good stuff. North America, I mean, well, INTZ and Bravado. This is where we started all off. Like they said on the desk, that Bravado performance at DreamHack Winter is the reason that I kind of give them a bit of a chance in this one. That's the reason that I think they're still remaining in a realm of relevancy. Just because prior to that, obviously their whole expedition to North America was to qualify for ESL Pro League, and they fell in the playoffs of Mountain Dew League instead.
This name of the team that they lost to?
Can't win a LAN.
Can't win a LAN.
But they could win online. That's for damn sure. So we're just going to go ahead and get into it, folks. All right, it's minor time, North American minor time. INTZ and Bravado. I got to say, I personally feel as though, you know, amidst the green room, in the back channels, I'm a big proponent of INTZ. I think these guys actually have a very real chance at getting into the next stage of the major in the top 2 positions of NA.
There's very few roster changes that you could suggest at this point to help them take it over the line. I feel like they themselves prepped for this minor by making those roster changes and now have no lack of talent. This is a roster that finally has got a hold of Yelp, and that's somebody who was not needed to be saved, but was somebody who definitely deserved the best team possible. Extremely proficient with the app.
Let's hope for a close series. The Betway odds, of course, a slight skewer to the favor of INTZ, 1.8 versus 1.85. Split near down the middle and split right into the A site. Using T-Con, using Ivy, we've got Bravado getting closer already. Sure enough, they're going to go ahead and plant this bomb. The question is, what can KNG and Zand do about it? They have non-existent utility, as you can see, and Zand's got a duel on his hands that he does eventually pick up. That Sonic popped. And now KNG tries to find his way into the mix, but it falls on Zand and Zand alone. Too many players from too many directions. It's Bravado with the T-side pistol.
It was a pretty good effort, and there's a lot of stress on the rotators at that point. Zand reclaiming Ivy is a big boon for them on the retake, but because they had lost so many players at that point, there was very little chance that they'd be able to surmise the round. For Bravado, coming out of Ivy is the most important thing. It's obviously a spot that compromises so many others for the CTs outside, and the split was simple. It comes down to hitting shots, but once you get to the top of Ivy, those Glocks become a whole lot stronger. Now we've got a scout here from KNG, just posted up on Z to spot if anybody wants to jump out or get sneaky, and it is INTZ in general to have bought up on every single one of their players. They have invested quite a bit. Cello comes in to try to take out Elusive on maybe an awkward timing where Elusive could have spammed and reloaded, but ends up getting killed for very little damage. Not worth it, if you ask me. They lose ladder control. Detrony trades now and takes out to Olaf. Yell doesn't seem to be aware that he's gotten this far out quite yet, but suddenly we'll play it safe. And because they got that kill so early, are going to slow this default down. Elusive's going to hold the top of the ladder, and there it is. Another kill falls right into his lap, and they make this look easy. We've got a man here in Yell. These scouts also become a whole lot less powerful when they don't have the pawns in the pistols to do that final 30 bit of damage.
Right. It's definitely a left-right hook kind of combo when it comes to that setup, and, well, it's a one-arm swinger on the side of INTZ. So they completely forfeit the A-bomb site. Nothing to get done in that direction. Good on Elusive for really opening up this round. I mean, it really does take just one player, and this is a prime example of it.
Set this up, Connor. This is a very big match. You know, what Chad said was, I think, an important thing to say and reiterate. It's that Bravado have everything on the line this major.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I mean, this is a team that has been very kind of transparent about their financial issues. And, you know, what supports you financially more than getting that Valve-sponsored sticker money, getting a little longevity as well with your roster. Like, if you can make a decent run at a major event itself. And I think this is what I've really tried to been hammering home with the minor circuit so far, is that for the last two majors, we've had one of these kinds of out-of-the-blue, ridiculous runs from a minor qualified team. Quantum Bellator Fire and Complexity most recently. What's keeping a Bravado, what's keeping a Windstrike or a Spirit from really doing this kinds of enormous bits of damage? Nothing at all except for the opportunity. And you gain that opportunity by winning here this week.
And there are some teams that maybe didn't take advantage of the full amount of practice time possible. You can bet your ass that Bravado weren't one of them. They've been on the back foot. It's probably been unsure for them what their future is up until this point now. And you can be certain that they came well prepared. We saw a lot of great things from them at DreamHack Winter. We kind of just want to see those things carry over.
Right. You know, they've had time to kind of stew since that all did unfold. Talk about confidence. You know, that's got to help when you finally get a result, a performance that you can be proud of. I'm sure losing that MDL playoff game was a big challenge for these guys mentally.
A true test. And so will this round.
Yeah, because Sam's already starting to work up from above. Detrony never sees it coming. Falls down and the spray's not good. Sonic still up, and JT from over the shoulder pops Yell's head, but it's KNG alive and kicking. No armor though, take note of that. Aim punch is gonna be a beast.
At this point, the Molotov locks it in. KNG trying to end this duel early, and he doesn't have a kit, so getting this kill won't matter all that much, and he can't even find that little bit of a win. They doesn't get the kill. He goes down. Bravado win the round. They did lose 4, and they ended up buying a lot of rifles early on. They got 4 AKs in the second round, so to lose the third in a 1v1 is costly. They don't get to strengthen their economy with the SMGs, but it started out as a nice crossfire from INTZ to put together this 1-2 punch with the P250s on the lower ramp hit that Bravado tried to execute. So round 4 is out, and INTZ have got 2 ops.
2 ops already, CT side, and speak of the devil, KNG successful in his immediate endeavor towards T-Con. So let's see, Bravado Gaming having to play off a back foot, having to do so versus a very well-equipped CT side. It's going to be that Ivy presence early, Sonic just lurking about with smokes in his face. And in fact, check out INTZ's setup, Launders. There's nobody here for Ivy.
There's not a lot of movement necessary if they are aware of what choke points are threatened. And we're seeing a lot of teams give up Ivy control, so we see our number 3-man Yell. He's going to be looking behind him at Ivy, and he can hold this triangle and be completely safe from anybody at T-Con. If smoke start to come out, a sandwich smoke, an E-box cross smoke, then his position is more well threatened, but with ladder, he should be totally fine. And they hold on to it with their life. Elusive actually dies to fall damage on his way down. And that's some money, I guess, that INTZ don't have. But apart from that, they have no losses, not taking a single point of damage even this round.
What a great outcome this would be for INTZ if they keep both of the snipers of this setup standing at the end and all the rifles around it as well. I mean, the investment on the ops alone cost them. Yell, with no Kevlar, can easily repurchase, and everybody else as well just going to restock on the grenades and take a bit of a breath. It's nice when you're already down 0-3 to win your first gun round with such conviction. You know, you can kind of put the opening behind you and say, all right, the game starts at this point. And Bravado, before that game truly begins, will take their first tactical timeout.
And Kenji has had one of the most outstanding op performances at a tournament that we've ever seen. And because of that, we haven't left him out of the conversation, even though he's been kind of excluded from pro play for so long. And he's even the player that people expected to be the next person back to MIBR after Stewie. Yep. You know, like there was so much conversation surrounding him, and it's just because of 1 or 2 tournaments where he was so fantastic with the op. But that being said, Yell is in as a secondary op, and he is also fantastic, could very well primary for almost any top team.
I mean, there was a time with Luminosity where he took over the primary from a guy like Henny.
For sure, and there's so many maps where both their ops can be useful. Here's one that we're looking at right now. Train, very friendly to these setups. And Bravado are right out to the action, jumping out of T-Con. They've got only a couple of rifles that they've bought up. But they're making a lot of ground.
Right, they have to as well because they had such little utility with this kind of a buy that it's all in on the play. You know, it's got to be straightforward and it's got to be committed. They need this conviction. But right now, all they have is a member down for the count. Detrony can't get a kill either. It's up close to Cello's nap too, and KNG's op support goes fantastically with the fact that they've dropped bomb. It is done and dusted. Bravado invest all they could, and they come out near empty-handed.
One of the best players at that spot that Cello played up at E-Box was FNX, another top Brazilian player, but the spot outside of E-Box is just such a high frag position. It was great to showcase how good Cello really can be. Such an explosive rifler, and at times can be a bit inconsistent, but look at him, he's showing up right now. And there was a half-buy situation from Bravado, but almost everyone had head armor, so those are some big scalps to take. And his spot is strong, it's very volatile, it's very rewarding if you're having a good game, because you're going to find a lot of engagements. But again, there's so much pressure on him to be the person to be in front of the executes when they come out, or even if it's just ladder control. Here's an eco where basically everybody gets melted. Detrony has only a P250 to his name and a bunch of eyes on him. He is America's most wanted.
Oh. And he's been caught, trapped, taken down, tied up instantly at 3 rounds apiece. And this is when we start questioning ourselves, right? It's like, is this going to be one of these crazy lopsided CT sides? What's it going to take from Bravado to break through this? We talked about their practice, we talked about their abilities, but we also need to see the depth of the playbook.
You let a map like this, or you let any map go through in a best of 1, you have to be prepared to play it, obviously. But INTZ looks super strong on these last couple of rifle rounds, so hope should be high for them. Now again, their setup doesn't have to change much with the 2 ops throughout the round. There doesn't need to be a lot of rotations. Can be pretty standard. You wait around for the opening pick. If it comes time to that there is an execute, you try to have your rifler seek out information, but for the most part, you're just trying to make it so that you don't have to move very much, and the kills come for free. T-Con control is taken for the CTs in response to the utility that's been thrown over T-Con. JT goes ahead and grabs his first kill. But Destiny is right there for the trade. Is also going to go ahead and poke into ladder room. So 4v4, they lose Ivy, but they gain ladder.
There's been a very forward stance coming out of INTZ on this A site. I mean, yet again, KNG has this mid-train position watching Ivy. Nobody actually back there. Instead, opting to play in connector and normally having somebody towards T-Con or, as we've seen this round, within that ladder room. So Bravado, they're going to have to really try and punch their way out of these setups because the defense isn't giving them that initial bit of space. You know, it's hard to get into your execute. It's hard to get into your swift entry when you've got players to take down every time.
So finally, Bravado have reclaimed T-Con control, and Destiny can keep his eyes forward. The problem is KNG is not in a totally comfortable position. Now he's totally threatened, needs to show up, hits the final flick.
Nice.
Before dying, leaving it in a 2v2. These rotators coming from the most common spot.
But Detrony gets them both. Good positioning as he comes in from Ivy. And that to me is the big kind of drawback from what I was just mentioning about losing the Ivy control for your forward positioning, is that once a guy like KNG, who kind of glues the whole setup together, goes down, you can have Detrony slip right through and damage those rotators.
Yeah, so Destiny's job obviously is critically important. And the thing is, even with one person down there, you've seen how easy it is to get the kills. There's not even really a better word for it. Once you're in ladder as a CT, being able to hear the nades makes your job a whole lot easier. And because they were down a man, they were thinned out, and that's the reward that you get if you're Bravado for finding that opening duel. Now Cello gets caught crossing the ladder. One of the easiest ways to kill somebody who's going to be a ladder player later in the round. This is a huge chip off their back, huge chip off their shoulder.
Either or.
Huge threat that they've removed. Let's keep it simple. And now INTZ have finally reclaimed T-Con control once again. Another great, easy to do, aggressive option for CTs to use as a reaction to T-side control. But Bravados have their eyes set on inner, and that means we'll finally get to see what Zan can do.
Well, he's feeling the pressure immediately, and he's caught from above. Elusive finds the timing. I love when I see these tunnel players, the ramp players, just delay long enough for Upper to really get control of the situation. And just like that, with a swift sweep of the B bomb site, we've got Bravado with a 5.
Yeah,
on the board.
And they got a little bit worried because Cello went down. They were worried about their op situation. If they did have a 2-3, he might have had more support either on the lower or upper ramp, depending on where he wanted to be. But from the spot on the side of the bomb train, it was fine. If he was against the wall, that's what we call Dennis, he would be able to hit his shots on the lower ramp. It's maybe a better angle than the one he was using just because he was more exposed. Just more of his model was exposed, allowing him to take more bullets from the spray. But the way that INTZ see it, I suppose, is that if it is an inner hit, they're a little bit unprepared. But if Zand goes ham, then maybe they can rotate in and come in for the retake and risk losing the ops. If it's an outside hit, they have it locked down. So Bravado make a good call, hitting the B site off whatever information they had. They've kept it pretty dynamic in terms of what areas they gravitate to more often. And now another buy up. This time, it's even better than last round. Zand is going to go ahead and pick up an AUG, and they have the double op set up once again because of the save guns. 5-3 from Bravado, and they are looking very strong on the T side. Started to slip a bit, but after the pistol, brought it back.
This is a very new look, though. An aggressive Ivy stance coming out of the CTs. And Destiny's support is good for 1 kill. It's Sonic with the rebound, however. Something fresh out of INTZ. Something fresh out of Bravado in the round prior as well. That was only the 2nd time they hit the B site and the 1st time in a full-fledged gun round. So each team's showing that they are dynamic. Nobody wants to get stale, only 10 rounds deep. Now we get one of these questionable mid-round situations, something that Train is so fun for.
Very tough. I think this certainly favors scope guns in this situation. There's going to be a lot less nades to come out, but a very important one to back 6 to completely deny KNG of any line of sight, and Cello gets absolutely blown away at Train Stopper. Now there's undue stress on KNG. He has to try to rotate forward through Old Bomb, knowing that a threat could wide swing on him at any time.
Sonic just double clearing Ivy, making sure there's nobody else left in those corners, and sure enough, it's both CTs from Old Bomb. Now KNG's waiting for someone to cross over towards ladder. This is going to put pressure on Zan to start clearing things, but he can help. He can assist with the trade frag. Doesn't look like he wants anything more than that, though. He knows the op is down, and he knows how valuable it will be moving forward. I mean, the success we saw from INTZ when they started that 3-round spree with conviction, it all did come off of the ops getting opening shots. And that's something that they're going to want in the next one. Perfect stuff from Sonic. 3 frags on the round. And considering they lost 2 bodies towards Ivy at the very, very start, those were crucial kills on top of it.
Absolutely. I mean, they kill Zen, and that was the most mechanically demanding and important shot of the round. And when he's out, it's obviously oppers that have such a difficult time getting in. There are two-wave executes on outer that a lot of teams use. One of them is the sandwich smoke to deny vision, to cross T-con, to kind of wreak havoc in the CT's minds as to what could be coming their way if someone's going to jump out Olaf, if someone's trying to lurk out of T-con to the right. And then after that, the two most important smokes are Z, depending on what you're trying to do, if it's going to be a ladder exec or if it's going to be anything towards Ivy where you're trying to abuse the sandwich, or Hell area, the one at back 6, and that's the one they threw to smoke KNG out, who was trying to pick up Ivy. Once his position is out, he has a big rotate back through Old Bomb, super stressful, and they basically don't even have to fight him. So doing a good job of not only winning duels they need to win, but winning as few trades as they need to cause ends to save. And they can save, bring the guns into the next round, but even on a round like this, for example, they're not going to go ahead and invest behind their saved weapons. Holding too many losses here.
Push out, Bravado looking to throw a flurry into the outer sight. Now there was an initial defense with KNG's op, a crucial piece of this round, taking at least one terrorist down, but now what? What more? Yell. Well, he's found himself one of the Deagle, and it's Zan's flank off that UMP. He saw no pressure at the B site because Bravado go all in A, and it's nice to see that confidence. He flies upwards with that flank and then comes swooping down upon them.
They took it quick, and they capitalized on the push on inner, taking a risk because they didn't have very many guns to work with, and Bravado went all in outside, tried to do it quickly, through their running smokes and flashes, and then once they got out, obviously, just got absolutely destroyed. So that's a big win for ENTZ, a tough loss for Bravado. They earned themselves what should have been basically an anti-force up or an eco round, and couldn't make anything of it. So where do we go from here? Are Bravado going to keep the tempo high? And it looks like Fady with ladder room control is trying to indicate yes. Cello knows that he's here, and he's at risk of taking nades in this spot. I mean, once he's been spotted especially, he's running a big risk. They throw the smoke out first, I think. He's still not in the clear. And kind of scramble around to try to get some information. They don't like to sit and wait. JT, ooh, that's a pretty cool Molotov. Zan goes right up the ladder, could have been heard.
He's taking damage. I think KNG did clip one from up and above, then Bravado instantly transitioned into that A site. Now the smokes and the fires are down, but Cello, he's gonna peek out while he still has a chance, and that secondary op is good for another kill. These CTs flying all around the bomb site do wind up catching a couple L's, but here's that fast flank. Once more in position, it's Zand, and this time he's not limited by the ump. He can let them get past E-Box, because this M4 will be fine for the fight. And seeing as it's all down to Detrony, I'm assuming that peak comes wide. There it is, to seal the deal and take INTZ within one.
It seemed like a good outside execute once they had made presence inner, but losing their inner guy, not getting a kill, and then having only 4 players go outside. And again, versus the ops, it makes it a whole lot more difficult. They made the most of it, they tried their best, but they didn't get enough. And obviously Cello is also in a flex position where he's going to be helping inner when it's necessary, but he was in Z at the perfect moment, right before the smoke plumed in his face. They cross a bit early, they get taken out, and that's an angle that they didn't have covered. Hard when you're doing a late last-second adjustment to account for those kinds of things, so it's hard to blame them for peeking when the smoke plumed. They almost had it down, but here's Bravado now on a save.
Just get ripped to shreds, as should be. So little invested. You know, a couple of times we saw those eco rounds. They got a nice collection of grenades. We saw them set up the execution for the A-bomb site, which they've been heavily favoring at this point.
So it's been kind of this juggle back and forth for Ivy. You know, Bravado have done good stuff with it, but I think when it's really worked is when they can take ladder room, and then they can force KNG out of the spot that he wants to stand in, and to watch Ivy, and then try to take Ivy from there. Because if he doesn't want to fight from Ivy, and you can pressure him on that part of the map by taking ladder control, then you've got a good thing going. But it's not clear if they understand his rotations that well.
Nice double peek. Sure, you know you're taking a risk when you peek that, seeing as the T's can be waiting for you to do so, but doing it twice at the same time clearly nets them a 4 versus 4. I like what you're talking about with kind of making KNG move his feet. I think if Bravado want to break through this defense, they're gonna they need a way to get him uncomfortable. Because so far, when he's able to just be stationary, he's a rock solid hold. Obviously still up this round. Fady not thorough on his clearing of the server, and so down he goes. Man advantage up for INTZ. KNG still hungry for a frag. There's the Hopper, now down. Simultaneous kills between him and Zan leaves just Sonic. And he's outnumbered 1-4. All 4 of these players from INTZ as well with a kill. So very clearly a team effort here in round 13.
Yeah. You saw how small that window of time in KNG had to find his frag, and you know, leave it to a player like that to get it every time.
Right.
Sonic's been good. He's been hitting them entries.
Sonic has been. And, you know, Sonic to me was always the player on Bravado that I kept my eyes on, but following their DreamHack Winter performance, I think you can't ignore Detrony. You know, he definitely earned a nod and then some. And the same could be said for Fady. The whole team really just started to show up at that point.
Yeah, they've done a lot of creative stuff. So, depending on spawns on this round, there is the fight for ladder, which is always tantalizing, and they sometimes win it, sometimes get it for free. How they use it, however, has sometimes been lackluster, whether or not they have used it. Sometimes they just hang around, overstay the welcome. It seems like they almost want to take an engagement at ladder. They feel like that might be one of their easier ways to find a first duel, but that strat will have to wait for potentially next round, as they are saving once again. Sonic has a Molotov, but the rest of them are just on pistols.
Elusive walking into his death. Pistols yet again for Bravado, and, well, still competent, very capable. Double deagle headshot, and Destiny doesn't feel safe up there, so he's going to try to tuck away into the corner, keep his body less exposed, and figure out exactly what Bravado are up to. Now, that's a good initiative from Zan, but he gets punished. Sonic was ready for him, and this Ivy push also seemed prepared for. Detrony and KNG going 1-for-1 to push this into the clutch, but the bomb plant at B is a surefire thing.
Yeah, I mean, this could be easy. It depends how KNG uses his smoke here, because Sonic still has his Molotov, so he'll be able to cross. And he doesn't play for that long con after plant. And they trade Molotov, so pop shot's not hit. A lot of fire damage dealt. KNG doesn't know this, however. Looks like he'll stay on the op. And Sonic is moving up close. Could be an instant. Oh, no scope, but no, Sonic's reaction is way too swift. KNG goes down, and Bravado steal back around off of, what, 3 1-deeks that game?
Yeah, 3 in the round.
3 1-deeks.
Hot damn, finally breaking through with the pistols. You know, that's a position we'd seen Bravado in about 3 or 4 times so far this half. Finally, it works out.
I wonder if they would benefit from trying to. I wonder if they would benefit from trying to default to Ivy for the majority of the early round, because sometimes they take ladder and then they sit still for a little while. Ivy is a place that takes a long time to break open, and maybe they could employ that before they decide what they want to do on their default. Nice opening collateral from KNG, and he even finishes off his second target.
Does drop at the end to the hands of Sonic once more. And Fady, well, he's found some spacing to the bomb site itself. Unfortunately for him, with these smokes, it's not like he can gain vision of the counter-terrorists. So Destiny gets to make his move as well. We kind of have a snake in the grass on each side of the fence. But down goes Fady. So INTZ have cut off the head of the snake, and now just the slithering body of Sonic on 2 kills at the moment would have to clutch 1v3. And Ace is a little bit too much to ask. And so it is with that INTZ take a 1-round lead, 8-7 on the CT side, and we'll be back after this break for the second. Thanks for sticking with us, ladies and gentlemen. I know you didn't want to go anywhere because this game is too damn close to leave your seat. 8-7 after the first half. INTZ on that CT side. We're holding back what seemed like a very dynamic Bravado. But let's see what the Brazilians have in store for us. So far, straightforward. Instantly running into the B bomb site, and Fady from both directions only picks up 1 kill. So the bomb plant seems like an inevitability. And how's this retake gonna roll?
What kind of utility are we working with? We've got Detrony, who has a smoke. He's going to have to clutch that for now. And the back oil player will be the first pass that they need to deal with. Zand, he stays alive. He's got too much support. And there it is. The smoke goes out. So at this point, they've got to throw a Hail Mary.
Yep, there's somebody sitting inside of it. KNG looms above. We're going to get the slice in the sight, and KNG picking up what seemed like a very simple 4K.
Yeah, you don't even remember any of the shots. They were just so simple, so clean. And the strat was also very simple and clean. They decided to split 3-2, sending their first 2 players down the lower ramp to try to entry, clear out close positions. There was no immediate threat, but then they made sure to cover Fady. We've seen too many times where teams have gone 5 down the lower ramp, and a player like Fady has pushed upper, and he can sit there and wait for the bomb to go down, which he turns into 2 or 3 kills. So really good to just cover that, and it's not any more complicated for your team to figure out. So it's a rush, but there's thought to it. Fady gets peppered down to about half HP. Basically pulls the pin on the incendiary for him. And INTZ will move right into what looks like an anti-force buy out the lower ramp.
Detrony and Sonic, the scouters. Fady's 5-7 up close is not going to find him anything, not even damage there, Mohan. Just whiff shots and a missed opportunity. Destiny tagged through smoke, a little scared for the moment, but they have the CTs so encapsulated, so pushed back on this B bomb site, and obviously with the MAC-10s and the other SMGs running forward, Bravado, they missed their opportunity. When you've got those scout buys, you need to soften them up early. It's not in the after plant that you should be dealing your initial damage, because in that case, you've probably already lost the round.
I like that they set up, explode, get past the main pain point, which is the lower ramp and how tight that choke point is, get out onto the site, push up, have their smokes plume, stand behind them, maintain control, look for people, and then put the bomb down, and then move into killing everybody. Now they've even got time to chase down all of these players who have turned over guns, who are saving guns, and put even more stress onto the economy of Bravado. But Sonic and Elusive will at least stay alive. It's all in the name, I suppose. INTZ are now 3 ahead, and this is revenge for the first pistol that they lost to Bravado.
Yep.
It was a well-fought half from both sides, but INTZ looked like they were in control a lot of those rounds, and Bravado had padded their stats by winning that pistol round. So this is an equalizer in the second half, and we'll have to see a meaty amount of rifle rounds won from Bravado now on the CT side to catch back up.
Thing is as well is, it's been a much more top-heavy affair for Bravado. Like, Sonic's look fantastic, and there's been moments where his teammates have been able to trade, but in terms of multi-frag rounds, predominantly INTZ. So we're gonna have to see who steps up with him. It can't always be that one-man show, and especially not versus a team that's already found that footing.
It's definitely the case.
Now it's Cello chasing Fady, not going to allow him to eject down ladder. Yell peeks out from Ivy, and all of a sudden there's a bunch of bodies and a couple of dirty deagles bouncing back the other way. But numbers is the name of the game, and KNG was 1-2 strong. So lines him up, mows him down. You got to be efficient with those bullets.
Without looking, how many kills does KNG have?
I'm going to say 20.
23 kills. 23 and 7.
Ooh, look at him go.
Yeah, he is nailing them to the wall at the moment. And we haven't even seen the first half, or the second half really begin. It'll be now, and Bravado are starting out similarly to the way that INTZ did, with 2 ops and 2 AUGs. How strong will this be?
Yeah, not the opening op duel. That's Detrony to pick it up. So let's see what INTZ can accomplish with KNG out of the picture, because he's been the biggest workhorse so far in this herd.
And also, we could kind of contrast what how INTZ do, just for fun, how they take ladder control versus Bravado. It could be team-specific, could be just what they're most comfortable doing. And it doesn't look like they're even going to bother with it. It seems like the call is to reroute over to inner. And Yell has made his way down the ramp. Detrony has had some bullets taken by him, goes re-peeks right into the AUG. And it might be the fight that was necessary to make sure Fady could have a longer lifetime in this round.
I feel like JT's being set up to succeed here, in the sense that he's gonna get action this round, no doubt. Destiny's creating space at A, and there you have it. The players come trickling downwards. They needed that ladder room to make the next move, and they'll find nothing for their efforts. An attempt at an endeavor from Destiny, but he just couldn't find anything. No opening kills, no confirmation of even positions, Launders. He had nothing but open space on that A site.
He even had that smoke down inside, or at the exit of ladder to both work as a false tell that there is nobody in ladder, but it's smoked off, and also a way to extinguish a Molotov that gets bounced off the window frame for the outside of ladder so that he could see it and then fall out through the smoke. You can also take that fight and fall out through the smoke, and he can't be chased that easily. So there's a lot of value in that if you can, if a fight comes to you in those 15 seconds that it's up. And we saw he could sit patiently, wait with the AUG, put together 2 kills without even breaking a sweat. And now, what is the plan of action? It's only flashes on the board for INTZ. Significant utility advantage for Bravado moving into round 20. It's a bit of a setup here as INTZ look to avoid taking too many risks on map control. They're not using KNG to work angles all that flagrantly. He's in fact holding inner to see if they push. Potentially it's going to come down ladder late if they execute, and it's up to the rifles.
Elusive not fancying that forward position so much this time. He's going to just tuck away in the bomb site. This is fine in terms of taking these gun duels, especially considering there's no smokes for INTZ to, you know, block off those angles. So at some point, Bravado will have vision of terrorists while they exit narrow positions. You know, you get that choked up T-con, the very narrow ladder room. Thing is, they just can't get caught mid-transition here. JT just got up to the top of the train, and Destiny's gonna come prying over it. An attempted whack-a-mole, but it's KNG with the information that gets the op pick. Sonic does one the other way, and now we're gonna get a duel of the oppers here. Not to mention, guns all around. Sonic misses the flick, and Zand, he's going to drop that first rotator. Still, Detrony's in position. This is the double op setup from the CT side, and Elusive runs forward. KNG still up in the back line. He was set up to succeed with his team in the front, but now does he get to keep his op? Oh, the leg shot's there. It's a warning sign.
Oh my God. He was trying to, yeah, he was just trying to use his movement to make his model as confusing as possible. It ends up working out. Takes a bit of damage, but carries the op over into the next round. And that might have been a result of the fact that they took so long to get out onto the site that once they had finally crossed the E-box, there's still a threat on the top of the bomb train, inside of Z, and where the clock's turned red. It's bomb plant time, and that means you're skipping angles, you're taking overly aggressive peats, you're wide swinging on things off of the hope of finding a kill for free. Not a mistake that Bravado were willing to give up.
Thing is take note as well, the only person who really got kills in that engagement for INTZ was KNG. If he had just had one teammate pick up a frag or two and get that bomb down, then we get to watch KNG in an after plant clutch. Just where sometimes he shines, but this time he fades away. Gets thrown into the scope of Sonic, who will take the duel happily.
Yeah, I think that's an important thing that you mentioned, that KNG is a combat opper. He's somebody that wants to kind of explode with his team, and when he was holding that flank inner, I was thinking, if he's dedicated to the clutch, well, it might not be enough if the rifles can't put out the oppers. They don't have a lot of nades to work with to get outside in the first place. And all those things could just make it so that he ends up getting exit frags at the end of the round for no hope. But he comes out to T-Con, executes with his team, and maybe just took a long time to get there, and that's why they weren't prepared for all of the threats that were going to be outside.
Getting choked up by just the sheer presence of Bravado. This time getting choked up on the ramp. Finally, Zand does get downwards, and Destiny's just retrieved that AWP. As quick as he picks it up, he's dropped it down. He's dead. Just as Zand is, caught by Sonic, the opper firing over the shoulder of his teammates and bringing Bravado back within one round of this lead.
Absolutely. And the round comes marginally close when Zand gets that kill, but 3v2, and Bravado looked calm. They had all the spots they needed to. They had plenty of health, the right weaponry. They carry over those 2 AUGs, and there's not an M4 on the board. 3 AUGs, 2 ops. Everybody has a scope if they want it.
Yeah, this is a great map to kind of bask in the glory that is our new meta. Fresh off the press.
Yeah, can't be said enough that these guns are very strong. And if you don't abuse them, you're going to miss out.
You know, if you can't beat them, join them.
That's right. Learned that from Looney Tunes. Timeout called for INTZ. They try to figure out what they can do on this round. They don't have enough money to full purchase. And there's the opening op duel. I mean, KNG comes out with a creative way of looking for the frag, but doesn't fly far enough and lands right into the scope of Sonic. It wasn't even a nasty flick that he had to hit. It was just a sitter.
Simple left click.
But they do actually pull out a purchase. It's not a very good one. It's kind of a busted buy, but they have guns. 3 AKs, a CZ, and a Galil on Yell. Definitely not a fan favorite buy for INTZ. Inner could be a great site to hit in this situation. Bravado have no reason not to play 2-3 with the 2 ops that they have. And some early damage done to Destiny. Oh, Fady puts away 2.
Gets a headshot through the body of Destiny, so it seems. That's going to have INTZ turning tail. You'd think. You still have KNG floating around the ramp.
This is the problem, that if Inner's too hard to hit, do they have options outside? It's a big site. It's a one that, you know, at minimum you want 2 smokes, a few flashes, and ideally you have full utility belts on every single one of your players to put away all of these angles. Even someone like me who's not a fan of full-on executes, taking outside just seems daunting without a lot of map control early on like Ivy, or enough players to split from multiple choke points, which is when your executes really flourish. And here, they only have 3 players and not much utility at all.
Yeah, but they are going to come back into this B site. I mean, they took the time to double back and clear out what could have been the aggressive stance from Bravado.
Ooh.
They have a feeling that they don't know exactly where they're at, and that is true. Bravado, they were just sitting within bomb sites. And KNG, I mean, he has slipped past, gets back into CT spawn, and while one player is cut down on ramp, it's not the bomb carrier. So KNG's position is still unbeknownst to Bravado. They have an idea that he could be here, and they have a player watching it. Crucial eyes from Elusive, but it does put Yell into a clutch position. With a health advantage over top of JT, and little utility other than flashbangs, he could pull this out, but he's tagged instantly. That catches his attention, and then they clean up shop. That's a crucial kill from Elusive in my mind, because as KNG is playing currently, that form, that's a 3K type form for him, and he had the back lane.
And when the bomb is planted and it started to tick and you haven't even rotated into the site yet, yeah, you can get really nervous and hold a flank for only a certain amount of time, but think, guys, we got to get up to the bomb and maybe oversimplify the situation instead of dividing it up equally into phases where, okay, we got to dedicate this much time and then we can finally move up. But they were very, very patient in this moment, and Elusive was key in saving his teammate and allowing them to have a very easy 3v1 on Yell, who was just sitting on the bomb. One adjustment that could have been made there was KNG planted, the bomb was planted default. If the bomb was planted on the side of the bomb, it could have been planted for KNG, and he wouldn't have even had to fight right away. It could have been Yell, who was in the much more volatile position, going ahead and looking for engagements where he wanted to try to make it a 2v2. If it did come down to a 2v2, and Yell is out there at the back lanes and CT spawn, lurking out, peeking only when the bomb gets tapped, a lot more time could have been burned off the clock.
A missed opportunity, but looks like Elusive won't miss his shots. Finds 2 as bomb is thrown out onto the dirt. Nice little anti-eco to pad the stats, and he'll beat himself a 4th. So there you have it. Bravado making mincemeat of what was a relatively straightforward T-con push. No depth to that one from the Ts.
Oh, yeah. And as the anti-eco fades away, it's not a very interesting round to talk about, but what we can talk about is how much economy has been built off of that. The fact that they've got multiple thousands per player means that not only will INTZ, who have lacked in these last 3 rounds, have to find 1 just to show themselves they can win a T round. They've got to put 2 and maybe 3 together after all is said and done just to be able to earn themselves an eco. So Bravado have set themselves up for success at the moment and are looking to take this game. Some pressure from KNG at Ivy. It's been kind of struggling to find the duels. More success with the rifle in the second half than his op. And Sonic, that's a nice one.
Yep, then wide swing out from JT, so good left-right punch. Bravado immediately get a 5 versus 3, and the question would have been, like, who brings this back for the terrorists? The answer was Destiny. Catching a headshot out from T-Con, It's unfortunate for INTZ that they lose another body in the upper brown halls. I mean, the saving grace is, yes, it was traded once more, so Cello, with half health, is still up with a kill of his own, but it's still Bravado with an advantage.
An interesting situation in mid-round, which is something that Bravado